Well, Art Briles told us, this week that one of the problems is they just have to play flawless in order to win a football game.
Yeah, and offensively, they're really not to that point where they can play flawlessly. I see that the last couple of weeks for sure.
Well, Nebraska will get the ball in the second half. Here is Tim Marlowe, the redshirt freshman. He had some running room, but tripped as he goes over the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at today's V-track and the highlights of today's game. Kelly?
Well, what Art Briles talked about, the Blatchford touchdown on the block punt isn't a great way for Baylor to start the day. Obviously good for Nebraska. And then Green has been good. He's thrown the ball 6 or 9 times, 85 yards, made good decisions. And then Crick has been an absolute animal up front. 7 tackles, 3 sacks. It's not just Ndamukong Suh on that front line, and that's what people have to understand. He's great, but they have 3 or 4 guys up front that can get it done.
Cody Green, the freshman who got the start, goes back to work, and the ball is tipped by Jason Lamb, who moved back to that defensive end position this week after playing defensive tackle last week. Is the nickname of Lambo. Cody Green, though, in that first half, pretty solid numbers for him. Only threw the ball 9 times, completed 6 of them.
And typically, Ron, made great decisions, and that's what you look for early. If he's nervous, maybe he forces things. He didn't force one pass in that first half.
Well, they go 3 wide receivers to the left, but they stick to the running game. Trey Robinson over the 50-yard line. Atchison and Williams on the stop. Here's Lewis Johnson.
And Ron, as the Baylor defense tries to stop the bleeding, I talked to Brian Norwood as he came back on the field, the defensive coordinator. I said, look, you're down 20-0. What do you need to do? Right out of the gate, he said, turnovers. First of all, they got to fight to get off blocks and somehow try to create some turnovers, try to get to Cody Green. But that's going to be the way they try and get back in this game, Baylor, to try and create some turnovers here. Let's see what happens in this first series.
And Lou, they have to get turnovers because he knows his offense isn't doing anything. So you have to at least give him the short field.
Only 1 turnover forced in 3 Big 12 games for Baylor. And now Jordan Lake, the human missile, the senior out of Houston, Texas, coming up to make the stop. That is the first tackle for a loss by Baylor this afternoon. Here's a young man that is an outstanding football player, and he told me Thursday, he goes, listen, we're not giving up, and he tries to rally the troops.
Well, that's a great example of where they have Jordan Lake in this new scheme by Brian Norwood. He used to play up along the line of scrimmage, but now he's a true safety. He still gets to the box, but he gets there, Ron, going downhill. That's a great look at it, that tackle for loss on that play.
Henry's kick, a wobbly kick. Burke standing at the 28-yard line. Looks for some running room. Breaks 1 tackle, tries to head to the right. We have a penalty flag back at the 38-yard line. That is the first play that has given Baylor fans something to cheer about. 41 yards on the kick.
Well, this is going to go back a little bit on the. I believe it's going to be a penalty on Baylor, but it's still going to be decent field position. Probably decent field position to get a good start in this second half.
Foul on the play. The flag was originally thrown for an illegal block in the back. However, the block was from the side and legal. First down.
Well, time now for the Sports Authority dedicated to the dedicated player profile, and that is Jordan Lake, who came up with the big hit. Here's a guy that back in 2007, he created 4 turnovers himself versus Buffalo. He's also a pretty good student, as we see.
And Ron, we talked about this before the game, that Jordan Lake and Joe Pavelic, they're the workhorses on that defensive side, but they need to be extra special today to come up with those big defensive plays. Jordan Lake just came up with one.
Swing it out to Solubi. Behind the line of scrimmage, he is going to be dropped. Eric Haig coming up from that strong safety spot. Just a solid athlete back there.
Well, you can see the depth in that secondary for Nebraska has grown since we were in there early in the year. And Gomes and Haig are doing a nice job. Dennard is another one that got hurt a little earlier, but he's playing well. They all of a sudden have depth in that secondary.
And they're playing very disciplined in the secondary. Smith and Sampson wide to the left. Lawrence looks, has time, look out! And he is going to be sacked for the 4th time in the ball game, and the 4th sack by Jared Crick. Crick came in with 3.5 sacks on the year. He has 4 today.
We just talked about Nebraska's secondary, and this is really a coverage sack. The defensive line continues to work hard, and Crick is one of them, and Barry Turner gets there about the same time. But great coverage downfield a lot of times will result in what we saw in that play.
Well, that time Danny Watkins was getting beat. Ivory Wade, the left guard, has gotten beat by Crick. So Crick is an equal opportunity guy. He'll beat anybody on the line. Pass over the middle. Kendall Wright one-hands it. First down inside the 25-yard line. 28 yards on the reception for the sophomore out of Pittsburgh, Texas.
Kendall Wright is matched up on number 28, Eric Haig, but it took a very nice throw, a great catch, because the window isn't very big that Nick Florence is having to throw through right now. That's the kind of play that Baylor has to make in order to drive the football and get points.
Well, Kendall Wright had 50 catches last year. One of the best freshman years in Baylor history, trying to do something in his sophomore season. Terrence Ganaway. Helmet comes flying out of the pack. Nice run by the sophomore out of DeKalb, Texas. Played for Art Briles down at the University of Houston. 07, he rushed for over 500 yards and had 6 touchdowns.
See J.D. Dalton trying to put his lid back on right there, but a good running play up in the red zone. Philip Blake, number 74, the right tackle, steps around and leads the running back up inside, and that's what you have to do against Nebraska. Keep them off balance. You have to have some kind of running game against this black shirt defense.
And we have an illegal substitution. Couldn't get a player off the field. Last 3 games, by the way, Baylor in the red zone only 3 times.
Illegal substitution, 12 men on the field against the offense. Penalty would be 5 yards, remain second down.
Lewis.
Ron Baylor really had an emotional surge on that first defensive series. They got the stop by Jordan Lake. And let me tell you something. When he came to the sideline, Lake was absolutely assaulted by his teammates. The defensive coordinator, Brian Norwood, was going crazy. But the way they need to get this third quarter started, this second half, down 20-0, is not just to live on that, but they need to score right here.
Yeah, Lewis, keep an eye on that, because that's very important in that bench area, that energy that Lake gave them. See if they can maintain that and turn it into something positive in the second half.
And we have whistles, and that'll be a procedure penalty, and that'll back them up 5 more, which will set up a 2nd and 14.
False start. Number 59 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remain second down.
I think you might get a little jumpy if you're Watkins and Wade if Crick has been beating you like a running mule all day.
Yeah, I think you're right. But remember, Baylor was 2nd and 4 in the red zone, okay? They get the first penalty for illegal substitution. They go to 2nd and 9. Now another penalty, they go to 2nd and 14. That sack by Crick earlier in this drive was their 5th negative play on 2nd down. They're doing a decent job on first and not even bad on third, but they're miserable on 2nd down.
Lawrence, the fake, looking for Wright, up in the air. Incomplete. Wright split the 2 cover guys. Anthony West was one of them. He actually had a chance to bring that down.
We actually saw this play in the first half. The fake bubble screen and try to get right down the sideline. But this is what Carl Pelini told us, the defensive coordinator of Nebraska. Any vertical route, they're going to try to get them underneath and over the top, and that's a good example of it. Asante and West basically double covering right down the sideline.
And he came off limping, Kendall Wright did. I think it was a good pass. Should have been caught.
And all of a sudden, after a decent start in the red zone, 3rd and 4, or 2nd and 4 has become 3rd and 14.
Average on 3rd down, almost 8 yards for Nebraska, for Baylor. Lawrence is going to be dropped. And Dominican Sue. That's only his 3rd tackle of the ball game, but trust us, he has been disruptive all afternoon.
And that's what it is up front. You can see right there, he's double teamed, so he's just basically going to turn into a spy and become contained. But then once Nick Florence breaks that contain, it's Sue with his speed getting on the quarterback.
And now Ben Parks will attempt a 41-yard field goal. He's 0 for 2 from this distance this year. And that'll split the uprights. So Ben Parks, the sophomore out of Argyle, Texas, finally gets Baylor on the board. They trail Nebraska 20-3. Welcome back to Waco, Texas, where the Baylor Bears get on the board for the first time this afternoon. Ben Parks, his first field goal over 40 yards this season. But it's 20-3. Nebraska on top, along with Lewis Johnson, Kelly Stauffer. I'm Ron Thulin. Hope you're having a wonderful Halloween day.
Is that what it is?
It is Halloween
day?
Which is fitting when
Christmas Eve day. And
well, so it's fitting that Oklahoma State and Texas are playing because there'll be a lot of orange up there tonight. Orange, I'm sorry. From about the 2-yard line. Here's Tim Marlowe, and he takes a wallop. Pushed back to the 15-yard line. And some of our crew members' kids that we have forced our kids to dress up. And that is our producer's little daughter. Isabella and his other daughter. That's Kate. Some of the costumes are pretty good. That is actually one of our crewmen's daughters. Those my two daughters up there.
Who's that?
Up there.
There's my
that is not Kelly.
Right
that is your son.
Yeah, Max is all of 13, and he's going on 6 feet tall. And the rest of the posse there, that's nice.
We all thought it was you. We first saw it.
How many trick-or-treaters out on the ranch in our place?
Yeah, I was going to say, unless they're a cow. And the Baylor defense coming up strong. Robinson.
There's a little energy out there right now. Do you sense that?
Well, it's talking to the Baylor players on Thursday. They were frustrated. There was a sense of frustration because they know they were better than that. And I'll be honest with you, the Thursday practice was one of the most spirited practices I've seen this year. These guys were getting after each other. And you got to, tip your hat to the coaching staff on that. 2nd down and 9. Swings it out to the left side. Pass is complete to Kyrie Cooper. Up to the 23-yard line. Jordan Lake with his 4th stop of the afternoon. But I like this Kyrie Cooper. Drafted by the Los Angeles Angels back in 08 as an outfielder. An outstanding prospect in football, too.
He's one of those young, skilled position players for Nebraska. But I think Cody Green right here in these 3rd down situations, he'll learn very quickly in the Big 12 and any BCS conference. You have to get it done as a quarterback on 3rd down.
Here comes the pressure. They set up a little screen to Robinson, and he is upended. He will be short of the 1st down by about 2 yards. Pavelic with 7 tackles this afternoon, the senior out of Spring Branch, Texas.
And it's Jordan Lake, and now it's Joe Pavelic. Those leaders on the defensive side coming up with plays in order to get off the field and let their offense get that ball back once again. There's a lot of energy right now on that Baylor sideline. These people are starting to get a little involved in this game, and this is their opportunity. You have to get it while the getting's good. The door is open. See if they can get it done offensively right now.
You said at halftime, we've got to start calling Lake and Pavelic more if Baylor had a chance to win this football game. Looking up into the sun at the 34-yard line. Chris Burke down at the 35-yard line.
Ron, we talked about the leaders on this team, Jordan Lake before, now Joe Pavelic coming up with a great play. Why not the defense get this emotion going in this crowd? You never know what it takes to turn the game around.
What are you going for as Halloween? iPhone. Give me a piece of cardboard, I'll cut a hole in it. Welcome back to Waco, Texas. Nebraska trying to snap a 2-game losing skid. 5th straight year. They've lost consecutive games in October. Before 05, they went 36 straight seasons without this happening. And right now they lead 20-3, but the momentum seems to be on Baylor's side right now. But they have to do something offensively. So Luby in motion. Lawrence looks right. Scrambling. Has got some running room. Got the 1st down. Close to the 50-yard line. Barry Turner on the stop. When they were talking to us about Nick Florence last week, they said that, yes, he is a dual threat. They liked his running ability.
Well, with the motion, look how it leaves the middle open. The linebacker Dillard is clear down at the bottom right there. leaves green grass up the middle, and Carl Pliny was a little concerned about that. In their matchup zone style of coverage, sometimes there's a lot of space in the middle, and Nick Lawrence got to it on that play.
That is a first down after a pickup of 12. He pumps right, looking, scrambling again. Runs away from Sean Fisher. DB's coming up strong to make the stop. wk9.
Art Briles went back to it again. He's seeing something he likes. He's going empty, whether it be in motion or 5 wide receivers. And Nick Lawrence is finding some running room because of Nebraska's matchup zone on the back end.
But Baylor is running the football now. I mean, they are starting to move it with 6:10 to play in the third.
And trust me, they don't care how they run it. They just have to have some presence in the running game against this Nebraska defense.
This is their Achilles, though. It's been on second down, and Finley is stacked up. The pile pushes forward, and where the official will mark it should be a first down.
I think you're right. I think the second effort that Finley gave on that play is going to convert this, but I think out of about 13 plays on second down, they really haven't gotten anything done. They were -1 yard, 2 sacks, 5 negative plays. That was the 14th play right there, and probably their most positive play. They got 2 yards and a first down.
Ball is now on the 40. They are in Nebraska territory. Looking, here comes the pressure. He just has to throw it into the ground. What pressure put on by Ndamukong Suh, and he leveled Florence. Throw Barry Turner a little kudo in that also.
The Suh and Turner getting pressure, and they were, in the end, he was trying to throw this ball to Finley. That's why it wasn't called grounding. Suh doing a nice job of, once again, getting off that double team, working over the top and getting to the quarterback. Carl Pliny's on the sideline throwing a fit because he thought it was intentional grounding. Finley actually looked like he was a blocker on that play, not a receiver, but the ball was in the vicinity, so the officials didn't call it.
Well, sets up a 2nd and 10 inside of 5.5. The officials now blowing a whistle.
And Ron, remember,
a penalty flag back at the 20-yard line.
I think they didn't reset the play clock.
Play clock to be reset, 25 seconds.
Okay. He's picking up the flag.
Remember, Ron, we're 2nd and 10 again. This is the down and distance that they haven't been effective. Second down hasn't been kind to Baylor. If they can become more efficient here, they've been decent on 3rd down, but second down they self-destructed.
They are going sideline to sideline with their wide receivers.
And look how wide the split is out here.
3 to the right, 1 to the left. Florence looking right. Now looking anywhere. Throws, passes incomplete, intended for Kendall Wright.
wk9 doing a nice job on the coverage, but Nebraska's secondary has actually covered very well today, especially on the deep throws down the field. We've seen time and again when Baylor's tried to take their shots. Nebraska's defense down the field has been very strong.
Now Sampson goes wide to the left. Ernest Smith goes in the slot on the left side. 3rd down and 10.
Nebraska going to 3 down linemen right here and getting more into coverage.
And they bring 4. Drop 7. Florence looks, throws the deep out. That's going to be incomplete. Intended for Wright. So a very promising drive comes up short. And it looks like Barry Turner is down at the 45-yard line for Nebraska. Slow to get up. His teammates help him up.
I think he's just out of gas.
I think the tank may be empty there.
Yeah, I think they were getting after Florence on that entire series of plays, and I think he's just a little bit spent.
You know, it's good to see him back. Big number 99. It looks like the old Barry Turner. Broke his leg in game 2 last year. And Bo Pelini says he has been disruptive this season.
He has gotten back to his trademark, is really the burst off the field. You can see right here, I think Art Briles has said, we're going to go for it. Why not?
Well, 4th down. They're 3 of 9 this year. They need 10. From a deep shotgun, they're going to pooch kick it. Nice spiraling kick. Actually, a nice job done by Nick Florence. The kick covered 22-yard line, but they got the job done. Nebraska takes over, 1st and 10. Ball's on their own 18-yard line. Here is the freshman Cody Green. Has some time. He is dangerous when he runs. The wobbly pass is short. If there is one thing I think we've seen today, sometimes on the run, Kelly, he has short hopped a couple of balls.
Yeah, and I think that's the young quarterback really not getting his shoulders turned toward the line of scrimmage. When your feet are moving, there's a different throwing motion that's necessary, and it's about technique, and he will get that. But there's going to be a lot of times with his mobility that he's going to be throwing on the run, trying to make a big play out of a negative play, and there's a pretty good example of it on that one.
Now Baylor 7-0 when allowing opponents only 21 points or less under Art Briles. Nebraska only with 20, but Baylor's offense has got to do something. Green has some time, swings it out to Robinson. A little shake and bake, puts the head down and picks up extra yards. Nice job by the true freshman. The PBR World Finals continue on Versus. Can leader Cody Lostro hang on and claim his #1 golden buckle? Or will J.B. Mooney and the world's toughest Cowboys knock him off? The PBR World Finals continue tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
That first down right there, Ron, I think was important for Cody Green in this Nebraska offense. They're becoming a little stagnant, and now they're moving the ball once again on that nice completion by Cody Green.
19 yards for Robinson. Green looking, going down the far sideline. He was able to connect earlier in the day to Niles Paul on that play. This time to Brandon Kinney. He overthrows him.
Brandon Kinney matched up on #8, Tim Hutchinson, and actually it was kind of a double move. Cody Green got a little impatient on that play. There was more time there. Let it develop. You have a big arm, you can throw it down the field. He let it go a little bit too soon before he really knew the angle of his receiver.
Talking to Ron Brown, the tight ends coach, longtime Nebraska assistant. And that brings up a 2nd down and 10 from the 37. Baylor with 8 in the box. They are jamming the line of scrimmage, and we've got a timeout by the Huskers. That'll be their first time out of the second half. Let's check in on the sidelines with Lewis.
Hey guys, we were talking about Halloween costumes early, showed all the families. Did you guys by chance share the photo of you before the game? You were trying your costumes out, right? Did you you didn't show everybody that?
Oh my.
I don't understand why you didn't share that photo with America.
Yeah, great.
That is wrong.
That's my Sunday church outfit, man.
That is so
boy. Oh, brother. Okay, Kelly.
Yeah.
Crew 1, us nothing. I think we've got. We don't get mad guys. We get even. Okay, just for the record there.
They have the last.
They always
have
do.
their finger on the button. No, I don't know what we can really do about that. That's wrong.
Second down and 10 now for the Huskers from the 37-yard line after the timeout. Here comes some pressure. They throw the screen to Marcus Mendoza. They like this young man's speed as he gets over the 40 up to about the 43-yard line. The sophomore out of Springwoods High School in Houston, Texas. Last year he was a running back. They moved him to wide receiver. And then the problems with running back this year with Quentin Castile leaving the team, they moved him back to running back.
Well, once again, Baylor's defense is back in that third and 5 situation where they have to come up with a play to get off the field. Conversely, Cody Green in this Nebraska offense has to find a way to extend the drive. They haven't been very efficient here in the second half.
To snap it for Green. Looking. Oh, picked off. This could be 6. Clifton Odom, 10-5, touchdown Baylor. First turnover of the ball game for Nebraska. And Clifton Odom with the interception, his first of the year, takes it back 45 yards. And all of a sudden, we got ourselves a ball game. extra point is good by Ben Parks. Kelly, tell me what happened with Cody Green on this. Did he not have enough mustard on it?
Cody Green, you can see him looking to the right initially. He throws somewhat blind and late to the flat to Kyrie Cooper, and Clifton Odom, number 20 right there, is just setting in a zone out in the flat, reading the quarterback. He doesn't have to do anything else. Right there, he can see Kyrie Cooper, number 6, coming to him, but he has a good shot of looking inside to the quarterback and just breaks on the football. And you can see the sideline is very excited about that. Gets him right back in this football game.
Now the Baylor defense led by Brian Norwood, the defensive coordinator. He stressed us yesterday at many times that this defense was not going to give up. He believed in his players. He said, we've had chances. We just have to have somebody step up and make a play.
Well, there's Clifton Odom right there that stepped up. And the first overt mistake by Cody Green, throwing late to the sideline, is never a good idea. And he threw somewhat blindly into a zone, and that isn't a good idea either.
Now the Baylor fans have something to cheer about, but you look at Nebraska, Kelly, they forced 2 turnovers, but they've only gotten 3 points off those turnovers. This is going to be a short kick. At about the 13-yard line, Niles Paul. Oh my, does he take a hit at the 27-yard line? Now, last week, Nebraska fans, turn away from your television. We're giving you a warning because these are the 8 turnovers last week. Broke Nebraska's record for the lowest turnover margin. 8 turnovers, tied a school record. 4 of the 8 turnovers inside Iowa State's 5-yard line. 7 fumbles, they lost 5. Most since 2001 versus Baylor. Yeah, I tell you, in all my years, that was the flukiest thing I've ever seen.
Never seen anything like it. Remember, they end up getting beat 9-7. If just on one of those possessions in the red zone, you kick a field goal, you win the game.
Yeah. Green this time just tucks it, just moves right ahead up over the 35-yard line to the 36. Pickup of 9 on the play. And you can see what they did the first 6 games with 7 turnovers, and last week 8 turnovers.
Yeah, they've done a very nice job up until last week, and that's what Sean Watson said. You know, Lewis Johnson asked him, what are you doing now in terms of taking care of the ball security? But he's like, the bottom line is, until that showed up, and last week we were doing a great job.
Absolutely. Now let's see how Nebraska now responds. They go with 2 tight ends on 2nd and 1. Robinson gets the first down. Let's check in with Lewis.
In our conference call this past week with Pelini, he said really the team needs some leadership after that game last week, but he said he feels responsible for what happens, but he chooses to never point the finger. He says point the thumb at himself, and he challenged the players to do the same. He wanted everybody to make that self-evaluation, which is sometimes tough, but look at yourself first before you point the finger at somebody else to get this thing fixed. It looks like they've done that.
Absolutely. Brandon Kinney now goes wide to the right. This team does have a lot of character, and a lot of people were trying to make out a sense of division between the offense and the defense, but it's not there. Here's Robinson. Right side, and he'll be close to the first down, about a half a yard short as we close in on 2 minutes left in quarter number 3, and the freshman is slow to get up.
Well, Ron, you asked what Nebraska's going to do, how they're going to respond in this drive. Well, what they've done is they've gotten physical on the line of scrimmage in 3 very hard physical run plays, a couple to the running back and 1 to Cody Green on the quarterback draw. That's what I think Sean Watson wants to do right now, reestablish the run game on the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd down and short, that is absolutely nothing doing. Austin Jones getting his first carry of the afternoon. He is stoned.
Now this is not exactly reestablishing the line of scrimmage. Up to that play on this drive, they've been doing a very good job on the line of scrimmage. That time Baylor just flat out won that matchup.
3rd down, they lose about a half a yard on the play, but it's still 1 for a first down. 2 tight ends. Drew Young in motion. Look like movement right side of Nebraska. They'll back him up.
I think it might have been right guard.
False start. Number 74 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Yeah, right guard Ricky Henry jumped a little bit early that time, but third and very short goes back to 3rd and 6, which is that kind of in-between area where I think the defense now regains the advantage.
Does this go back to what Bo told us on Wednesday, that the team hasn't been consistently mentally tough
I
this
think
year?
that's exactly it, Ron. I was thinking the same thing. I think you have to overcome situations like this, but you have to be mentally tough and do the mental things right in tough situations like this as well.
Lester Ward now in the backfield. Green, he's got the first down to the 45-yard line. Complete to Niles Paul, the junior out of Omaha.
Niles Paul is that veteran receiver that comes in on the slant. A little shaken up on that play, but a very authoritative decision and throw by Cody Green on that play. And that, Ron, that's what you're seeing out of Cody Green in the important times in this game. He stepped up with confidence and been decisive, and he delivered the ball that way on that play to Niles Paul.
Second reception for Niles Paul today. The first one was 45-yarder. Green looks to run the option, turns the corner, tripped up as a penalty flag comes flying in, and I think he tripped over Kyrie Cooper's leg. But there's a flag at the 45-yard line.
Holding number 67 of the offense. Penalty will be 10 yards. Remains first down.
Center Jacob Hickman, Ron, getting called for that hold, and this is the type of situation that Bo Pelini was talking about. To be mentally tough means in this type of situation where you have a setback, you have to overcome that by doing the little things right and now getting that yardage back.
That may be the final play of the third quarter. I think Nebraska is just going to sit on it, but it was a good quarter for Baylor. They hold Nebraska scoreless. They put up 10. The big blow, though, coming from Clifton Odom, the junior out of Arlington, Texas, his first interception of the year. He takes it to the house as we head to the final 15 minutes in Waco, Texas. Nebraska leading Baylor 20-10. Texas, along with Lewis Johnson, Kelly Stoffer, I'm Ron Thulin, where Nebraska's lead has been cut in half, 20-10, as we head to the fourth and final quarter. And Nebraska first and 20. Green keeps it up over the 50 into Baylor territory, down to about the 48-yard line. Pick up about 8 on the play. Joe Pavelek, Phil Taylor coming up to make the stop. Pavelek, 8 tackles in the ball game already.
And the true lead draw by Nebraska that time, Trey Robinson, number 27, the running back for Nebraska, leading Cody Green up in the hole, and you can expect to see more of that from Nebraska with Cody Green in there. I think Zach Lee had that ability, but certainly not to the extent that you see out of Cody Green.
Last 5 drives for Nebraska, punts and an interception. Down to the 45-yard line. Big hit, Jordan Lake. He's got 5 tackles this afternoon.
Nebraska once again, Ron, going up to get tight ends off to the right. 3 of them, they pull offensive linemen, really move that offensive line to the right, and then it's just sorting out the defense as you get to the edge. And Jordan Lake, the human missile, fills that alley very well.
Jordan Lake saying, I've got to wear that little neck roll because of stingers last week. He says I look like a high school fullback. He hits like a Mack truck.
Yeah, no question.
Now Cooper goes in the slot left side, facing 3rd down and 9 for the Huskers. Baylor shows blitz. Here they come. The pump fake by Green. Fires over the middle. Has a man incomplete. Should have been caught by Kyrie Cooper. But the hit coming up by Byron Landor.
Cody Green starts on the pump fake, the double move to Niles Paul, and then comes back over the middle. I think he actually had Niles Paul right there. I don't think he had to come back over the middle. You're right, Ron. It should have been a catch. It would have been a difficult one, but one that Kyrie Cooper will learn to make down the road.
Let's see how these young players from Nebraska respond to this. Chris Burke now standing inside the 10-yard line for Baylor. Henry's kick, he angles it towards the near sideline. And it'll go into the stands. So we've got a timeout with 13:37 to play in the ball game. Baylor down by 10 and with the football, but we have a penalty flag. No, the official's now going to wave it off, I think. No flag, so we'll take a break. We're in the 4th in Waco. All right. We talked about smoke and mirrors. You know, Art Briles telling us Thursday, he says nobody is panicking. Yes, it's frustrating. The team isn't panicking. But you look at 153 yards offense for his offense today, and we bring up the point we started the telecast with. How is the offense going to get points now to make this even a better football game?
Well, they certainly haven't had the answer to that question yet. They've been outscored by their defense 7-3. But I think they have to continue to get something out of the run game, get it to their playmakers in any form possible, the screen game, and also Nick Lawrence running the football.
Well, they'll empty the backfield again. Lawrence hands it off. And go right. Too many white jerseys, not enough green ones. Here, Allen came up with the first hit for Nebraska. That is his second tackle of the afternoon.
Ron, that's exactly what we were just talking about. Kendall Wright comes in motion, becomes the running back. They get their playmaker, one of them, the football, but the result wasn't very good. You still have to win on the line of scrimmage, and as we've seen, that's very difficult to do against this Nebraska front four.
Dangerous field position, too, for Baylor. Chris Burke and Wright wide to the right.
This is the area that Nick Lawrence has been able to exploit. When Nebraska runs out of there on coverage, watch for him to run the football.
Just gets off the snap. Over the middle, complete, up to the 23-yard line to David Geddes, the senior out of Los Angeles, California.
Art Briles going to an empty backfield, 5 quick receivers. Now he's coming back in with the tight end and Brad Taylor and putting Finley, the running back in the game, just mixing it up, trying to find some way to get a play downfield against Nebraska.
Lawrence rolling, buying some time, looking. Here comes the heat, and he is going to be dropped by Sean Fisher. 5th sack of the ball game against this Baylor offense. Coming into the game, they had only given up 11.
That's where the inexperience at that position shows up. Lawrence is immediately outside of that tackle box. You have to throw this ball away past the line of scrimmage, which you can do. You don't go down with the sack right there. Try to make a play, and at least don't lose field position.
Fisher with 3 tackles and a sack today, coming off a 9-tackle performance against Iowa State last week. His career best. Paul now standing at his 35-yard line. Now we have a penalty flag. And I think they ran out of time. Boy, that just is
delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Now, Kelly, I mean, let's think about it. They go back 5 yards on this play. That puts it down about, what about the 15-yard line? They've already had 1 punt blocked, and a couple more have been very close.
You know, and throw in Nick Lawrence not throwing the ball out of bounds, and all of a sudden you have your punter standing almost on the end zone line, and Nebraska should, without a catastrophe, inherit this ball in plus territory.
This time Nebraska doesn't put on the big rush, and this is an outstanding kick by Derek Epperson. Niles Paul forced to make the fair catch after the 44-yard kick. 11:39 left to play in Waco, Texas. Lewis Johnson, Kelly Stauffer, welcome back to Waco, Texas. Nebraska leading Baylor 20-10. Baylor has scored the last 10 points. Talk about balanced offense, including today. Nebraska now with 249 rushing plays, 249 passing plays for the season. Roy Hella was checked back into the lineup for the Huskers, his first appearance in the second half. gets back to the line of scrimmage. Let's check in with Lewis Johnson.
Ron, I'm up here with the Nebraska fans, and quarterback Cody Green has about 200 fans here from Dayton, Texas, which is southeast Texas. And here's his mom, Chandra, and his sister, Ashley. And, Mom, for you, I'm just watching you watch him. What's it like to watch your baby, your son, out there quarterbacking the Cornhuskers?
Oh, it's just amazing. It's amazing.
What did you see in him early on? You said at 5 he was already playing up. What did you see then as a young boy?
Cody has always been an athlete, and he's always been a fierce competitor. We saw it a long time ago.
And an incomplete pass there, so I guess we'll continue. And what's it like to sit in the stands and watch him? I know that he's played in 4 games this season, but to see him get his first start.
It's amazing. It's something that he's looked forward to, and it's something that we've looked forward to. So, you know, the Husker fans, you know, they've always supported him, and we're just happy that they've been supporting him.
And Ashley here, I don't get this one. Now, you graduated in May with a degree in marketing from Baylor. I mean, any problem with the allegiance here?
Yes, a little bit.
But you've got the jersey on, so
I got the jersey. I'm good. I went over and saw everybody and said hi, but, you know, they're a little torn, but I'm doing good.
All right, there is a complete pass, Ron, for him. By the way, this is not jobs.com, but Ashley just graduated with a degree in marketing, and she's looking for a job.
Well, she worked in the Baylor football offices, actually.
Exactly.
Now Cody Green comes up with nothing on that. They'll face 4th down and about 7. After the little slip screen, didn't do anything. And again, Nebraska is going to be forced to kick it away. This is quite a learning experience for young Cody Green and all the redshirt freshmen.
Yeah, the last 7 drives now, an interception, 1 ended by the half, and the rest have been punts. And so obviously there are some growing pains to go through. Nebraska hasn't been doing much offensively.
Their catch is being called for at the 21-yard line, a punt of 35 yards. And Baylor will have the football. They are only down by 10. Plenty of time left. You can see that Nebraska had a 20-0 lead at halftime for the 2nd week in a row. Baylor shut out, but the Baylor defense comes up with 7 points in the 3rd. They kick the field goal, and that's where we are right now, 20-10 with 10-11 to play in the football game. Kind of similar situation for Nebraska as it was last year. If you remember, they lost 3 straight last season. Then they won 6 of their last 7, including the bowl game. Bo said that there was no panic by the team then. There's no panic by the team now.
Yeah, and I think the difference between last year and this year is you have a defense this year that's only given up, coming into this game, 11 points a game. I mean, you should have a chance to win every game, if not win every game, when your defense is playing at that level.
And that ball is on the ground. The exchange with Finley did not go well. Nebraska has the football. Boy, oh boy. And it looks like, just take a guess who was involved in that play, Kelly.
I'm assuming
Jared
it's going to be Jared Crick.
You're right.
Going to be right. And it's just the read zone right there, or the zone read, and Florence didn't intend to give that ball. Finley was a little bit, I think, hesitant whether he was getting the ball or not, and the miscalculation, the mismesh, Jared Crick takes advantage of it, and that's what Nebraska's defense really hasn't been getting. We've talked about it. They're a high-pressure group, but they haven't been getting many takeaways. They're getting takeaways today.
Jared Crick, 7 tackles, a pass broken up, 4 sacks, and now a fumble recovery. I will nominate him for the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. And they're going to give it back. Baylor's got the football. Antonio Johnson forced it. Earl Patan coming up with it.
Well, the quarterback lead draw, there's nothing wrong with the handoff here, obviously, because it's a direct snap, but Cody Green just doesn't take care of the football. And Ron, what we've seen is 2 young quarterbacks, Nick Florence for Baylor and Cody Green, being involved in the ball handling or ball security, and neither one of them doing a very good job on that couple of plays.
There we see the turnovers. Nebraska now 10 in the last 2 games, of course 8 last week. Now, can Baylor do anything with it? It's like basketball. You can force a turnover, but can you capitalize on it? Here's Florence looking. He's going deep for Geddes. Outruns his defender and makes the catch. yards on the connection. The biggest offensive gain today for Baylor.
Well, Baylor's been trying to take advantage of the one-on-one situation. Nick Florence moves a little bit to his right. The double move down below to David Geddes to the left, matched up on wk9. Nice throw, nice catch.
And this time the defense stonewalling after the quick play. They couldn't even set the chains, and Baylor ran the play. That is exactly what Carl Pelini told us on Wednesday, Kelly. He said, these guys are going to throw the ball up to these speedsters, and it scares me because their defense, they're worried about their quarterbacks.
Well, what happened on that play, when the quarterback, Nick Florence, moves a little bit to the right, the safety help over the top had to respect the quarterback movement. It left one-on-one down below with Geddes and wk9, and they took advantage of it.
Quarterbacks on an island. That's been the Achilles heel for this Nebraska defense. 3 to snap it. Finley, nothing doing. Again, it is Jared Crick just blowing through his block. He has been unstoppable. Second down, or third down, I should say, and about 7. Now Kendall Wright goes in the slot, top of your screen. Lawrence looks over to the sideline with 10 to snap. Now Finley moves just offset right. 2 to snap it. Lawrence looks for Finley, swings it out, breaks a tackle, leans forward to the 25, ball's on the ground, but they're saying he was down. Mark it down at the 26-yard line, maybe the 25. And it'll bring up a 4th down. Jared Salubi checks into the lineup, and they'll go for it again. Last time they pooch kick it, no chance this time on 4th down. Trying to draw Nebraska offsides, and we're going to have a timeout. There was 3 to snap it, and Florence decided to take time to talk to Coach Art Browse. We'll be back. All right, thank you, Bill. Nebraska trying to keep pace with Kansas State. Kelly, would you kick the field goal in this situation?
I think I'd kick the field goal here. I think against Nebraska's defense, 3 yards on 4th down. Why make this play the game? You're going to have another possession anyway. I think you go ahead and kick it here. Your defense has stopped Nebraska the last 7 possessions. I think you're going to get the football back. Don't make this the play of the game.
Well, it would match Ben Parks' career-high field goal, 42 yards, if they did kick it, and he would be kicking into a stiff breeze. So it's 4th down and 3. They've got 7 to snap it. Lawrence looks, throws, pass, caught. David Geddes inside the 20, inside the 15, down to the 12-yard line. His 100th career catch for Baylor, and it was a big one.
Art Browse just concluding that this is his best scoring opportunity. Gomes is right there, but Geddes runs a nice route, and Nick Florence makes a great throw, very accurate on that play.
And here comes Florence, has some pressure, throwing this up for grabs, tipped, incomplete, should have been picked off. Anthony West had it in his hands. Oh my.
Gomes was there as well. Anthony West over the top and Gomes underneath. Double covered Geddes on that play, but a quarterback throwing it up, just hoping your receiver can make a play. Multiple opportunities on that, and in the end, West had a great chance to pick that one off.
2nd down and 10. Ball's on the 12-yard line. They can get a 1st down. Salubi joins Florence in the backfield. 2 to snap. A little hesitation on the exchange, and they may lose a half a yard. The first hit, and Ndamukong Suh.
And Nick Florence on the zone read, what he wants to do is pull it right here. You keep it in until you can effect that contain. And Nick Florence liked his matchup at the end. If he could have pulled it late, he thought he could get outside of that contain, and it looked like he probably could.
Finley checks back into the backfield on 3rd down and 11. Reverse, Kendall Wright looking to throw it. He's a former high school quarterback. Now he scrambles, gets a block, takes it down the sideline, and he skips out at about the 8-yard line. Jay Finley lowered the boom on Jared Crick, who's still down.
This is the first true gadget play we've seen all afternoon, and Wright intends to throw a throwback to the quarterback, but that hit right there. Finley on Crick. Crick has been giving him fits all day long, and that's the most violent part of this game. Happens in plays like that when there's a reverse of field, and then you have guys waiting to try to decapitate defensive players. Right there. It's amazing that Crick is getting off the field right now with that blow by Finley.
Well, Finley gives up 80 pounds to Crick, but more importantly, Baylor did not get close to the first down. It's 4th down and 5 as Jared's going to be let off the field. A heck of an afternoon. 8 tackles, a pass broken up, 4 sacks, fumble recovery. And a bunch of tackles for a loss, too. We'll throw those in for good measure.
Yeah, he's been incredible. Very disruptive all day long, and that was absolutely a brutal play, but it's good to see. He looks like he's got his bell rung, but got off the field by himself. That's a great sign.
And now they've decided to kick it, and Ben Parks is late getting on the field, but they have plenty of time to snap it. This will be a 24-yarder from the left hash into a breeze. High snap, they bring it down, and it hits the upright.
Wow.
It seemed like it would have been a chip shot, but Ben Parks cannot get it down.
This starts left and remains left and goes off that upright right there and bounces outside. But what was strange about that is Parks was the last one, Ron, on the field. He didn't act like he knew he was going to be asked to kick the football.
He was running out, and I'm going, well, you know, you do kick field goals here in this game.
The entire field goal team was out there except your kicker. He comes on late after the holder had waved him onto the field. That was extremely odd.
I think Art Briles was talking to the officials about how the defense was climbing on each other to try to block that. Didn't stop his guy from shanking it off the goalpost, though, when Nebraska takes over with 6:24 to play in the ball game, and now they can just stick to the run game. Now let's take a look at our Buffalo Wild Wings game reset for today. And 20-10 with 6:10 left to be played in the ball game. Cody Green, I think pretty good afternoon for him.
I would say average, not a bad start. He certainly cooled off in the second half, and we've seen Crick's name time and time again, and then Baylor, the big play by Odom, and other than that, they've gotten very little going.
Lester Ward on the carry, getting some playing time. They said they were going to rotate backs today. They've done a little bit of it. Roy Hello looked like he may have got a little ding on the shoulder again. Trey Robinson getting some carries. Marcus Mendoza getting some carries. Lester Ward. Now it's 3rd down and a yard for Nebraska. And again, Baylor having to bring in one more player. They were one short. Nebraska is going to be stalled right at the line of scrimmage, maybe losing a yard. Well, you'll find out what it takes to tackle the world's toughest sports jobs. Join NFL All-Pro linebacker Junior Seau as he does the jobs that make sports really work. Sports Jobs with Junior Seau. Seniors kicks off Wednesday, December 2nd, 10 o'clock Eastern, with 2 all-new episodes only on Versus. How does he fit this show in with his play?
I'm not sure how that.
I'm pretty impressed. And Nebraska is going to be forced to kick it away, kicking with the wind. 4:35 to play in the ball game. Alex Henry standing on his 13-yard line. And a driving spiraling kick. Chris Burke backing up to the 16. The spin move. Here come the white jerseys. 55 yards on the kick, 4 yards on the return. Well, just a little over halfway through the regular season. Let's take a look at who Kelly might think could win the Heisman.
I think McCoy and Tebow still have the inside track. The context of really a good team the second half of the year. They'll have some big games. I think C.J. Spiller at Clemson is the best all-around player in the country. And then Ingram at Alabama, that wildcat formation allowing him to get a lot of touches. He kind of has that context as well, Ron. It's not just the individual play. It's where the individual play takes place. That context is needed. All of these guys have that.
And, of course, Colt McCoy, Zach Robinson playing tonight in Stillwater. Now, look at the 4 wide receivers to the left. Or 4 linemen to the left, I should say. And that may be a play that will be taken out of the playbook tonight as a penalty flag is going to be thrown. And Dominican Sue, Pierre Allen on the stop. And they threw Florence to the ground, who's kind of trying to walk it off right now. What kind of form? It was 3 linemen to the left.
It was almost like a swinging gate, I think they call it. I mean, there were a couple of receivers, a couple of linemen. Florence fakes it down there and wanted to get it downfield somewhere else, but I think Dominican Sue had a problem with that.
Personal foul, slamming the quarterback to the ground. Defense number 95. Penalties 15 yards, first down.
This is tackle football, isn't it? I'm just curious.
I believe the last time I checked it was. Pierre Allen gets called for a little bit too much, a little bit too late. Dominican Sue gets chopped early, gets a hold of Florence, and right now whistles are blowing, but it was in Dominican Sue that threw him down. Pierre Allen had little to nothing to do with that kind of play.
6 sacks, though, for Nebraska, but they do have the penalty, and again, Baylor confused on offense, getting players in at the last second. 4 minutes to play in the ball game. Florence looks right, the slant in caught. Still on his feet is Ernest Smith. Up to the 45-yard line, pickup of 12 on the play. That is his 2nd reception of the afternoon, and he has been such a go-to guy this year, and him have only 2 receptions is kind of a surprise.
And that's what Baylor needs right now, is kind of a catch and carry type of situation. Catch it short and then do something with it after you get it.
On 1st and 10, Florence, look out. We've got a penalty flag thrown, and he is going to be dropped back at the 30-yard line. Another sack by Jared Crick. That's 5 on the afternoon if the play stands.
It's good to just see Jared Crick back on the field after that crackback by Finley.
I think he's looking for Finley. That's why he came back on the field.
He just happened to run into the quarterback before he found number 32.
Now the officials are talking it over. Here we go.
Holding number 59 of the offense. Penalty will be declined. 2nd down.
Watch Jared Crick, the effort by the sophomore.
And that's what Crick brings to the table. He has a high motor and continues to work hard inside. He gets cut to the ground, gets up, pursues the quarterback, and then finishes the play. And Pierre Allen meets him at the quarterback as well. But Jared Crick is a player. He's benefiting from Sue inside, but Sue won't be there next year. Right. Jared Crick will be the star of that front 4.
Well, he idolized Adam Carricker. Lawrence throwing up, has the receiver wide open, and that's going to be a penalty flag, but it doesn't matter because it's caught by David Geddes. Almost like a Hail Mary, and Geddes comes down with it. It covers 41 yards.
And that's been the Achilles heel of this defense, is playing the long pass. They have Geddes essentially double cover. They have West down there, and Asante's coming off the hash, but you can see how poorly they played that football in the air. That's what defensive backs have to do. Just like a receiver, you have to locate it and you have to go make a play on it. And West and Asante, neither one of them did a very good job on that play.
Well, West lost his starting job to Denner. Been fighting hard to get it back. That won't help that matter any. To play in the ball game. Baylor trying to overcome a 10-point deficit. Lawrence has some time. Puts it underneath. Pass is incomplete.
What Nebraska's doing against the 2 wide receivers to either side is kind of a twin set. They're taking 6 defensive backs and playing 3-on-2, and it leaves 1-on-1 in the middle. With the linebacker right here on Finley, it's Dillard on Finley, and that's what Art Briles is trying to get Nick Florence to exploit. It wasn't a very good throw or catch, but that's exactly where they want to attack. That one linebacker in the game is Dillard. They want to isolate him.
264 yards for Baylor. They have more yards than Nebraska does on offense. Florence going up, has a man, Salubi wide open, and he doesn't come up with it. The redshirt freshman from right here in Waco will dream about that tonight.
A great job of play design on this right here. The tight end setting inside, and the Salubi runs the wheel route outside. Florence makes a great throw and just absolutely dropped the football.
It's a couple of times today he's putting the ball where it's supposed to be. Kendall Wright had one go through his hands in the end zone earlier.
Well, Ron, we talked about the talent being better on this Baylor team. That talent isn't making very big plays right now.
And we've got a whistle and a timeout. Nebraska, they'll burn their second timeout of the second half. We know college football and we know the BCS, but how long will the Horned Frogs remain in the BCS picture? Well, you'll get to see them coming up next against UNLV, and again next week versus San Diego State at 4 o'clock Eastern. College football is on Versus, and just a reminder, we'll have more Big 12 action coming your way next week at noon Eastern time. The matchups are to be determined, and we'll find out hopefully tomorrow.
Wow.
And now Bo Pelini talking to the referee about something. But if you're a young quarterback like Nick Florence, a true freshman, you have put the ball on the money a couple of times. How does that help or hurt his psyche?
I think it hurts it if you let it, and I think that's the challenge for a young quarterback. As a veteran quarterback, you learn that plays kind of come and go, and you just let it go off your back. If you get down, Ron, the thing that happens is you're not really ready to make the next play that's available. So you have to let it go, tell everyone around you we're moving on to this play. We'll see if Nick Florence is successful at it right here.
Now the Nebraska defense has done a nice job forcing turnovers. In their 4 wins, they were +7 in turnovers, losses -12. They should be on the plus side today, but now Baylor knocking on the door again. 3rd down and 10 from the 20. Florence going for Geddes again. This pass is going to be incomplete. Hit the ground. Double coverage by Nebraska. Lance Thorell. And also Prince Amukamara.
And we can see the strategy once again. Baylor literally, Ron, and you pointed it out earlier, they get a speed guy going down the field and they literally throw a jump ball. Nebraska has misplayed that a couple of times, and it's been Nebraska's nemesis all year long in that secondary. Lance Thorell did a nice job of attacking that football in the air. That's what you have to do as a safety.
Well, 4th down, and they've got 5 to snap it, and 10. 2 to snap it, 1 to snap it. They get it off. Florence across the middle, and it's going to be incomplete. Intended for Kendall Wright, could have been picked off. Thorell again is the one who juggled it, and Nebraska will take over with 2:33 left. Baylor with just 2 timeouts left in the ballgame.
Nick Florence is very accurate, but you could see that ball comes off a little high. I think it's actually contact at the right time by Asante, that safety patrolling that middle. You light up receivers when they go up for the football, but I think that one got away from Nick Florence just a little bit.
Well, Nebraska will take over on the 20-yard line. Still have 2:33 left, and we don't want to say this is over by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Not what we've seen this year. But Nebraska does have the football. They just need to hold on to it. Here comes Cody Green. Even though there's time left, let's first talk about Baylor. Obviously a big underdog in this football game. You have to give Art Briles and all the seniors on this team that really have fought through this an A for effort. Brian Norwood and company, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think the design has been pretty good. I think Brian Norwood made some good adjustments at halftime. Nebraska's offense hasn't gotten anything going in the second half. And I think Art Briles has set his team up to make some plays. They just haven't made enough offensively.
Be close to the first down. It should be enough for a first down at the 30-yard line.
Now, Ron, think back to a couple of plays that come to mind. Kendall Wright dropped the touchdown pass down here in the end zone, and then that one to Salubi that we just saw on that wheel route by the running back. I mean, those are plays that come from the design of the play. You execute it up to the point of catch perfectly, but your playmakers don't finish the ball, finish the play. You can't do anything about that.
Final 2 minutes, 1st and 10 for the Huskers. Lester Ward on the carry. Okay, and they've called the timeout. Baylor has. Now let's take a look at our Miller High Life Common Sense play of the game, and it happened on Baylor's first possession. And it was a pretty good one as Eric Martin got in on the block on this. Bingo hung up in the air. And Justin Blatchford takes it, and he takes it to the house. First score of the ball game. And Nebraska has never trailed, and that is our play of the game. Well, let's talk about Sean Watson's offense and Nebraska. A lot of struggles. People up in Nebraska, you live there, Kelly, we're basically saying that the coaches turned stupid overnight, which I've never understood that.
Yeah.
You're great. It hasn't been great. Let's be very honest. Hasn't been great, but hasn't been better.
No, it hasn't been great, but I think it's better certainly than what they did last week when they put the ball on the ground 8 times. You can't win doing that, even when your defense only gives up 9 points. So I think it's been better than that, and there you can see the growing pains. Cody Green's career basically has started here today. I don't see any reason not to continue that. Sean Watson is still searching for answers, kind of probing to see what works, and I think they took a step forward today compared to certainly last week.
Last 7 drives, they have not scored, Nebraska. Baylor will call the timeout. That will be their last timeout of the ball game. Let's take a look at Nebraska's upcoming schedule, because obviously Kansas State with a big game tonight. They've got to play at Oklahoma. And then next week, of course, the Oklahoma Sooners in one of the classic rivalries. I wish it was every year. They go to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Then they have to go to Lawrence, Kansas. Mark Mangini's squad, Todd Reesing and company. Mangino, and then Kansas State. And then Colorado.
And I think in the north, the important thing is Nebraska still has Kansas and Kansas State. I think Iowa State is getting a lot of nice things done this year. Paul Rowe's doing a nice job, but I don't see them really staying where they are currently. And Kansas State is up at the top, and Nebraska still has them in front of them.
What a job Bill Snyder has done this year at K-State. And Nebraska very content. 3rd down and 9. Baylor will get the ball back probably one more time. Lester Ward on the carry again.
We're talking about Sean Watson and this Nebraska offense. There's been a lot said about the quarterback position, but I put my finger on when Roy Helu Jr. got hurt and really got hurt in the Missouri game. And that running game that Nebraska was counting on really hasn't been the same, and they've suffered because of it, because they really don't have the playmakers to find outside yet. I think with a quarterback, it's hard to make plays when your skill people around you are still learning how to play the game themselves.
And I think you've got to put Rex Burkhead getting hurt, because they wanted the plan at the beginning of the year was to let Roy Helu run the football, get him in rhythm. Then when he got tired, put in Rex Burkhead. That was kind of the plan, and then Roy gets hurt. Of course, Rex Burkhead is hurt. You know, they're hoping he comes back. So Bo Pelini has had to kind of fill in the gaps on offense. And then you've got to throw in mentally Colton Karinsky Gilliland. I mean, they were on the scout team this week. How disappointing is that? Two guys you expected to play. It's like falling off the face of the earth.
They just didn't step up, and that's the bottom line. You tried to bring those guys along up to this point in time in the season, and before long, you just had to go to the youngsters, and here's one of them right here. Cody Green doing a nice job most of the day, being pretty decisive. This is what he brings to Nebraska's offense now, his ability to make plays out of nothing. He throws the ball well. This is 50 yards flat-footed down the field and on target, and his leadership ability for a young guy. We heard that from Sean Watson in the beginning of the year. This guy is confident. He's a leader. It's just a matter of him learning enough to get out there and be productive.
Now they've got to find something offensively. 440 yards average in non-conference play. With today's totals, it'll probably be closer to just under 300 maybe for the season. Jared Crick, though, 13 tackles, 5 sacks, 6.5 tackles for a loss. Chris Burke backs up to the 8-yard line. 57 yards on the kick and not a whole lot on the return. The ball is lit. No, somebody still got it. We saw the big pile. Baylor's still alive. Henry tries to finally chase down Chance Casey. Boy, it looked like Chris Burke was down, and all of a sudden Casey comes out of the pile.
There were a couple of different pitches on that play at the last second. Burke goes into the pile and ends up pitching the ball back. Right here, it looks like Nebraska's going to get him secured. He gets free enough to pitch the ball right at the last second, and in the end, Casey ends up with it and makes a nice play. Nebraska, Ron, almost gave up on that play a little bit too early as well.
I thought they had him corralled. And Florence with 27 seconds left. Pass is caught inside the 25-yard line to David Geddes. He's had a nice day today.
Ron, that quick hitch route right there. Look for the hook and lateral where they throw it to the quick hitch, the curl route, and then pitch it back.
Here's Geddes. He's got to get out of bounds, and he does with 9 seconds left. Once again, Baylor out of timeouts.
And remember, they still need a touchdown and a field goal to get something done here. So it may be a little bit too little, too late, but you never know in this game of football.
273 yards for Nebraska, 264 for Baylor. Final 8 seconds. Here's Florence going for his true freshman Jefferson at 6'6", and it's batted away. Matt O'Hanlon got a piece of it, so we've got 1 second left in the ball game.
Lance Thurell actually on that play from that safety position, and that's what Nebraska has lacked on those throws downfield. They've been too passive. Go up and play that ball at its highest point and play it aggressively.
And this will be the final play of the game. Comes the pressure. Florence looking across the middle. Pass is going to be incomplete, and that's the way the game will end. Baylor falling to 3-5 on the year, 0-4 in conference play. Nebraska going to 5-3, 2-2 in conference play. Our final score: Nebraska wins at 20-10. Next on Versus, UNLV versus number 6 TCU. For more information on college football, log on to Versus.com. For Kelly Stauffer, Lewis Johnson, and our entire Versus crew, I'm Ron Thulin. Now let's go to the Craftsman postgame show.